Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this new session. I hope all of you are doing just great. Yes. So, in this week, as you all know, we are studying for the upcoming Kerala SET exam. Right. So, tonight also, we are back with a new session with more questions and some more revision. So, with that being said, let's get started with our session tonight. So, I believe my screen is visible to you all now. Yes, it is. Right. So welcome again to our 11th revision session of Kerala SET. Are you all ready? Yes. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Yes, welcome. Good evening. Good evening, Lokesh. So the session tonight is going to be a bit special because tonight we are going to focus exclusively on literary criticism and theory. Right? So tonight we're only going to do questions from criticism and theory. All right. So are you all ready? Let's get started. Here's your first question for tonight. Which of the following best defines Mikhail Bakhtin's concept of heteroglossia? Tell me. Tell me. Today UPPSC result came out and many of our students have qualified for the mains. So it's an amazing day. So congrats to everyone. Congrats to everyone who have qualified. Congrats to everyone who has qualified for the mains. Yes. Good evening. Good evening. Yes. Heteroglossia means the coexistence of distinct socio-ideological varying voices and discourses within a single utterance or novel. Yes, congratulations to everyone who has qualified for the mains in the UPPSC exam. Really, our heartiest congratulations to all of you from the entire team of Vallath. We really wish you all the very best for your mains and all the upcoming endeavors. Right? Yes, congratulations to all. Okay. So, other than heteroglossia, tell me the concepts which have been propounded by Mikhail Bakhtin. Mikhail Bakhtin is a major theorist of the novel, right? And he has propounded many concepts. Yes, tell me, which are those concepts? Which are those concepts? He has talked about heteroglossia, polyphony, carnivalesque, chronotope, right? And he has discussed almost all of these concepts in his book, The Dialogic Imagination. The Dialogic Imagination, right? He has talked about heteroglossia, polyphony, carnivalesque, chronotope, right? And these concepts have been discussed in his work, The Dialogic Imagination. He's a major theorist of the novel. Okay? Mikhail Bakhtin. Will you all remember? Yes, very good. Next. What does the term deference coined by Derrida deliberately combine or oscillate between? So, deference. What do you mean by this term deference? It's a term within the vocabulary of deconstruction of Derrida. Right. So, what do you mean by deference? It means difference and deferral. To differ and to postpone. Correct. To differ and to postpone. Has Derrida also talked about the concept of aporia? Has Derrida also talked about the concept of aporia? Yes, aporia means a blind spot in a text. It's a knot which cannot be resolved. It's a blind spot, a point of contradiction within a text. That's what Derrida called as aporia. Correct, correct. Next. Wimsatt and Beardsley defined the intentional fallacy as dash. Wimsatt and Beardsley had talked about intentional fallacy and affective fallacy. So what do you mean by intentional fallacy? What do you mean by intentional fallacy? Intentional fallacy means the error of judging the success of a work of art by the author's intended design or meaning. Intentional fallacy is the error of judging the success of a work of art by the author's intended meaning or design. And what do you mean by affective fallacy? Affective fallacy is the error of judging the success of a work based on the emotional effects it produces on the readers or the audience. Affective fallacy is the error of judging a work of art based on the emotional effects it produces on the readers or the audience. Right? Correct. Next. Cleanth Brooks argued against reducing a poem to its paraphrase. Right. He was against this idea, stating that the fundamental structure of a poetry is a structure of dash. If you know even a bit of Cleanth Brooks, you can answer this. According to Cleanth Brooks, the fundamental structure of poetry is a structure of dash. He was against paraphrasing of a poem. He called it as heresy of paraphrase, because he believed that the fundamental structure of poetry is a structure of paradox. A structure of paradox. Correct. Was Cleanth Brooks a new critique? Was Cleanth Brooks a new critique? Yes. Was J.C. Ransom a new critique? Yes. J.C. Ransom was also a new critique. Was Alan Tate a new critique? Yes. Alan Tate was also a new critique. Correct. Next. William Empson's pioneering work, Seven Types of Ambiguity, published in 1930, defines ambiguity as dash. Tell me, William Empson's pioneering work, Seven Types of Ambiguity, published in 1930, defines ambiguity as dash. It defines ambiguity as any verbal nuance, however slight, which gives room for alternative reactions to the same piece of language. So ambiguity means something which keeps things ambiguous, but things are unclear. Right? Yes. B is the correct answer. Next. F.R. Lewis championed rigorous close reading and moral seriousness in literary journals. Name the influential journal he founded and edited with Q.D. Lewis. This one is quite easy. It's a PYQ as well. So F.R. Lewis, who wrote the very famous works like the Great Tradition, right? He championed close reading and moral seriousness in literary journals. So along with Q.D. Lewis, he founded and edited Scrutiny. Scrutiny. Correct. Scrutiny. Very good. Next. So yes, Yesterday also I told you about this. It is our UGC Net mentorship. If you guys want mentorship, please, you can contact us, where you will get one mentor who will guide you 1:1. Yes, your mentor will give you a daily routine for studying. Your mentor will be available to help you to 24/7. Your mentor will help you practice the PYQs and comprehension. Your mentor will give you focused materials, lots of practice, lots of practice, lots of practice, and also will solve your doubts. Okay? It's an online mentorship program where you are free to choose your timings and slots and everything. So if you need one-to-one help from Vallath with net, you can come to us. Okay? All right. Correct. Next. In practical criticism, I.A. Richards identifies statements that are used to excite emotions or attitude adjustments rather than record verifiable truths. He calls this as dash. He calls this as dash. No. In practical criticism, I.A. Richards identifies the statements that are used to excite emotions or attitude adjustments rather than record verifiable truths. He calls this as pseudo statements. I knew many of you would go wrong with this. And this is why you need to learn things in depth in theory. Okay, you cannot just, guess things and go away with it. It is pseudo statements. Pseudo statements. All right. Okay. Next. T.S. Eliot's concept of the impersonal theory of poetry in tradition and the individual talent argues that progress of an artist is dash. Easy. This one is very easy. You know this. Let's read the options once and answer. T.S. Eliot's concept of the impersonal theory of poetry, as discussed in his critical essay, Tradition and the Individual Talent, published in 1919. Here he argues that the progress of an artist is a continual self-sacrifice, a continual extinction of personality. Because, as he said, poetry is not a turning loose of emotions. Right? Poetry is not about expressing your emotions and personality. It's about a continual self-sacrifice and a continual extinction of personality. That's why it is called as impersonal theory of poetry. Poetry is not supposed to reflect the inner turmoils or personality or anguish or happiness or too much self of the poet. Right? Yes. Matthew Arnold famously designated certain authors as touchstones. Do you know who are the touchstones of Matthew Arnold? Homer, Dante, Milton, and Shakespeare. Homer, Dante, Milton, and Shakespeare are the touchstones of Matthew Arnold. According to Matthew Arnold, Homer, Dante, Milton, and Shakespeare are the touchstones. That is, they are the standards of great literature. So they are the touchstones who are used to judge the classic value of other poetry. Their writings are used as benchmark to judge the quality of poetry of other poets. In which essay does he discuss this concept of touchstones? Matthew Arnold has discussed this concept of touchstones in his essay, The Study of Poetry. The Study of Poetry. And according to Matthew Arnold, Homer, Dante, Milton, and Shakespeare are his touchstones. That is, poets whose poetry are used as benchmark to evaluate the quality of others' poetry. All right. So the study of poetry, it's a very important critical essay by Matthew Arnold. Okay, right. John Dryden's An Essay of Dramatic Poesy, published in 1668. It uses 4 characters to debate dramatic rules, right? And this work is in the form of dialogue, but the 4 characters are talking to each other, right? So which character here speaks for neoclassical French regularities and strict unities? Tell me. Which character in Dryden's An Essay of Dramatic Poesy supports the French? Which character defends the French? It is Lycidius. Lycidius. Correct. Very good. Lycidius defends the French. All right. Correct. Next. Which essay by Theodor Adorno and Max Horkheimer critiques mass culture as an instrument of ideological control? Very easy. Which essay by Theodor Adorno and Max Horkheimer critiques mass culture as an instrument of ideological control? It is The Culture Industry, Enlightenment as Mass Deception. Very good. The Culture Industry. All right. Next. Louis Althusser identifies institutions such as the church, schools, and the family as dash. Louis Althusser identifies institutions such as the church, schools, the family as dash. Easy, very easy. He calls them as ideological state apparatus. Ideological state apparatus. He calls institutions like church, schools, family as ideological state apparatus. All right. It is option B, ideological state apparatus. Right. Next. In Lacanian psychoanalysis, the entry into language and the social order occurs when the child moves from the imaginary order into which real. Again, a very basic question it is. In Lacanian psychoanalysis, the entry into language and the social order occurs when the child moves from the imaginary order into which real? Into the symbolic order. The symbolic order stands for language, social rules, and laws and codes. It is the symbolic order. The symbolic order. Okay, clear? Right. Elaine Showalter's model of gynocriticism maps women's literary development through which 3 historical stages? Again, if you have read the basics, you can answer these things easily. Elaine Showalter's model of gynocriticism. It maps women's literary development through 3 stages: feminine, feminist, female. Feminine, feminist, and female. Very good. Feminine, feminist, and female. Correct. Very good. So that's all from our side for tonight. I really hope you guys loved the session and enjoyed answering these questions. Please like the session, everyone. Okay. And if you want, you can always join our UGC Net mentorship. All right. So that's all for tonight. And we will be back again tomorrow at exactly 9:30 p.m. for more revision for Kerala set. Till then, please take care. Keep studying. Good night. Bye.